Sibell. This is a recording which will be uploaded to YouTube. Do you consent?
I sure do.
Okay, so getting right into the meat here, you began transitioning in your 20s. What was it like living with dysphoria pre-transition?
Personally, I never found myself able to actually enjoy the way I looked, so I just didn't try. And that meant things like ignoring my personal hygiene, not taking care of my diet. I gained like 60 to 80 pounds in a single, I think 2 years of college. Yeah, it was really rough. It's one of those things where you just kind of look back at it and it's like, wow, it's a long time ago and things have definitely changed since then.
Is there any like mental situation that you were struggling through?
Really, it was just the idea that I was ever going to be happy with the way I looked. I hated it. It just always felt wrong. And seeing people around me that were feminine that looked a lot better, I was just like, why can't I look soft like that?
So how did this affect your personal relationships?
Oh, always insecure. The idea of somebody else being able to provide something that I couldn't just because they actually liked the way they looked was terrifying. So I never was comfortable with any of my relationships in terms of where I stood with them. And I generally would just not let myself get too invested. And if I did, I would be really easily jealous about pretty much anything.
When you discovered HRT, how did you feel?
Honestly, the way I discovered it was through somebody else in my life starting it. For them, they were also really struggling with mental health. So seeing them start HRT, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Seeing them transition from one gender to the other, I love this for them. It's going to be great. What I didn't expect was that they're going to completely shift their entire outlook on the world around them. They went from being able to hardly handle doing certain tasks around the house to now suddenly able to just do it themselves. And as someone who really cared about that individual, I was kind of blown away. And I started considering what this magical thing was that allowed someone to change their core abilities to function. I mean, for me, it's estradiol. For him, it was testosterone.
What was it like getting started?
I'm not sure if it's like this for everybody, but over here, you make an appointment and then you wait for 6 months for it to actually happen. So it's a lot of, okay, is this going to actually fix things? How do I properly prepare for this process? Once it arrived, what do I need to do? Do I need to suddenly start changing everything about me, or can I just wait until later? A lot of uncertainty, really.
So where are you at now?
Oh my goodness, I could not be happier. My hair grew back. At least for the most part. I still have a little bit of a bald spot in the back area. My skin is super soft. I am developing hips and a chest, but it takes time, as I'm sure anyone starting this process knows. Even having like a midway point body type, I like looking in the mirror now. I don't have to go to the bathroom and shower in the dark or turn off my lights before I can do my hair or anything like that. It's really nice.
Well, what do you wish you knew before transitioning then?
I wish I knew to be patient. And I think that's also kind of fits into something I would say the advice, but nothing is fast. And that means things like learning a voice or learning mannerisms or telling family, that's going to take some time. If you make this leap and you realize something, like for me, it was like 28 years of being in denial or ignoring myself. You want to start immediately. You want to have your life begin as soon as possible, but that can set some weird expectations on yourself. And it's really important to just take your time. And I had a lot of struggles with those anxieties. So I wish I had known to just be patient and that it's okay for things to take time.
What is your view of those expectations now?
I think it's really important to make sure your expectations are about being true to who you actually want to be rather than the idealistic version of what you've always thought you should be. And that might sound like really abstract, but what I mean is things like, I'm not going to stop being 6 feet tall. That's just not going to happen. I should learn and focus on accepting that fact and embracing it, because there's some people out there who really like tall girls. Recognizing that there is a lot of good things to work with and prioritizing embracing those good things with the assistance of hormone changes you might have, rather than trying to completely replace your body in a way that's just not realistic for you to do.
So difference in your mental state now versus before.
So before I was really focused on uncertainties in ways that were scary. Things like, okay, what if I can't get a body type I can be happy about? What if I can't grow my hair back? What if I can't get to a point where this all felt like it was worth the effort? Whereas now, I mean, I still have uncertainties in life. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm only a year into my transition, so I have a long way to go. But now I'm thinking about things in terms of like, you have a long friend you haven't talked to in like years coming to see you again, or you have Christmas with family that you miss. coming up. You don't know how things are going to go, but you know that no matter what happens, it's going to be an enjoyable thing. It's going to be a positive. It's going to be something that enriches your life rather than making something scary.
So what do you see in your future? What are some hopes you have?
I'm really excited to spend time with my sisters. I have 3 older sisters, and they all have been super close growing up. I'm talking like making music videos to Rihanna songs in the backyard, kind of close, and still talking every day today in a family group chat. Funny enough, last night I saw my sister and we had like a one-on-one just talking, kind of going through what I've been experiencing. And you know that thing where sisters will just borrow each other's clothing and then not say anything about when they take it home with them? I now have a headband I really like to wear that I didn't have before because she thinks I need to wear a headband instead of a hat so that my hair grows easier. And I'm really excited for those kind of experiences. I'm excited to rebuild those relationships in a way that I never could have imagined were possible before.
That's actually a point I think a lot of people gloss over when talking about transitioning, is the ability to feel a genuine attachment and connection because you can be your authentic self. Do you mind explaining a bit more about that for yourself specifically?
Yeah, so I would see situations where my sisters were picking out outfits and they would be going in the yard spending time together, or now they're hanging out with their kids as well. And I just felt like I couldn't participate because I couldn't bring myself to even be comfortable in my own skin, let alone be comfortable in my own skin while doing other things with other people. But now, I mean, the way I express myself is extremely different. And when I can speak like this with my family, I now have a vocal range of expressions and emotions that they've never heard before. It's literally bringing a new voice to a person that they always thought they knew but never got to hear fully.
Final Fantasy XIV played a big role in your transition. Do you mind explaining how and why?
Like many people who get into playing MMOs, I had some deep-seated challenges in my life that led me to being on my computer a lot. And with that, I would sign in, I see people talking around me, and I had a female avatar, so naturally they treated me like a woman. So I got to respond to them like a woman. And that meant me being able to really think about, maybe this would be better in real life. Maybe these experiences of people treating me and allowing me to be cutesy without being like, hey, dude, why are you talking like that? Instead turns into, oh my gosh, you're adorable. We should go hang out and do things. Or making new outfits and just being able to focus on the things I've always wanted to do but couldn't do in real life. I could not replace that. And there's nothing I can imagine would have been similar in terms of allowing me and enabling me to express myself.
Any things that you wished you could do before transition that you have experienced so far?
Having experiences with someone who you're romantic with that likes you for who you are when you like yourself. That's a huge thing. Being able to be in a relationship and be comfortable in your own body instead of feeling like you have to always be on display or trying to do things differently. A partner of mine once described it as feeling underdressed at a party, constantly aware of how uncomfortable you may feel while everyone else may or may not care, but you feel extremely out of place.
Then what is one piece of advice for fellow trans women?
My one piece of advice would be to recognize that something that's gender affirming might not always be you affirming. So just because wearing pink and soft clothing right now makes you feel like a woman doesn't mean that's going to be the woman you are later on.
Is there anything else you want to include before we conclude this interview?
I just really appreciate a lot of the people who are making content out there these days. I cannot imagine how the situation would have been different had I seen this type of thing when I was first figuring out myself. Now, granted, being almost 30, when I was in high school, there wasn't anything anywhere near this. But the people who are taking time out of their day and really putting their heart and soul out there to make others be able to see how the world doesn't have to feel as overwhelming as it is, that type of person is special, and I really appreciate those who do that. I actually don't stream on Twitch other than just for streaming to a couple of my friends, but I believe it's Sibell_Lun, Lun.
Thank you so much for your time today. It has been a sincere treat, and I do appreciate you.
Thank you as well. It's been lovely.
For sure. Absolutely. Likewise.